Happy Sunday to everyone. I hope everyone has had a fantastic weekend, and I hope you all have an even greater, most wonderful, fantastical next week. You all come in the kitchen with me, and let's make what's called an emergency cake. It's called an emergency cake because you don't need any eggs, you don't need eggs, you don't need milk. You just need some of the basic necessities that you have around your kitchen. So I'll be back so we can get this process started. Okay, now, and the one thing about this emergency cake is everything is done in one bowl. Now, all we're going to need is I have 1 3/4 cups of self-rising flour. Now we're going to need to add a cup of sugar. And what we're going to do now is we're going to whisk this sugar and the flour together until it's completely mixed together. So I'm getting this cup of sugar ready. And I look at an emergency cake like I want something sweet, but I don't really have anything in the house, and I don't feel like going out to get anything. And so with this emergency cake, you can use what you have. Now, I have no idea what it tastes like. When we taste it, we'll be tasting it together for the first time. Okay, so I have my cup of sugar, and I'm pouring it in here. Now, we're going to whisk this sugar and self-rising flour together until we think it's completely mixed. We also need to take the whisk and kind of like, y'all can see what I'm doing. Try to sift some of the flour through the whisk like that. Okay, until it forms like a powdery look to it. Okay, you all, I'm going to hold this up in just a second so how you can see that it's actually starting to look like powder. See if you can see that. Okay, you all, the next thing we need to add in here is vanilla. I'm going to go and get the vanilla ready, and I'll be right back. Next, we're adding a 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla. Next, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of oil. I'm going to pour that, and I'll be right back. Okay, next, we're adding in a 1/4 cup of oil and a cup of water. And that's it, you all. And we're going to mix this together. And I have the oven preset to 350. Well, preheating on 350. And like I say, I've never had this cake. When we taste it, we'll be tasting it together. But it's called an emergency cake. So if you don't have self-rising flour, you would use flour, salt, and baking soda. And no worries, you all. I'm going to leave the recipe in the description box. And I'll leave both ways to make it. And you know what? I think I was supposed to add this water in a little bit at a time, but that's okay because it's all going together anyway. Okay, so we're just gonna keep whisking this until everything is mixed together really well. And it's said to pour it in an 8x8 pan with parchment paper. I know what the pan I have is not 8x8, but I'm going to use what I have just to see. And I have some parchment paper on it. And what I'm going to do is just pour the batter on top of it and let it sink down, and then trim the excess parchment paper off of it. And one way I can tell if this is mixed up, I'm looking at the bottom of it, and if you can see that, to make sure like everything is mixed in together. I'm going to take a little spoon and put some of this batter on my hand and taste it. But this is really simple, an emergency cake. And if you don't have vegetable oil, you could also use butter as well. So let me just see what this batter is tasting like. 'Cause it doesn't really have anything in it but vanilla. So let's see. Oh, y'all. That is good. Oh, my goodness. That packs a whole bunch of flavor. That is good. That is really good. I am surprised. It tastes really good. So let me see let you see what it's looking like. Okay, so now what we're going to do is hopefully this works out the way I'm envisioning it. I don't know why you have to have parchment paper, but okay. So y'all see how it's falling down here? Okay, let me get a spatula, and I need to kind of like balance it out. Okay, like that. Y'all, this tastes really, really good. That is just so crazy to me. Something you just dump in a bowl in a few minutes. Emergency cake. Now, you can make icing to go with it. I'm not going to make any icing. I just want to taste the cake. If a cake is good enough for me and it has a little crunch around on the outside, I can eat it like that. Okay, so that's all the cake batter. So I'm just going to go in, you all, and trim the excess parchment paper off, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like before I put it in the oven. All right, you all, I have trimmed off the excess parchment paper, and this is what our emergency cake is looking like. I have the oven, like I said, heated to 350 degrees. This will go in the oven now for 38 minutes. I'll see you when it's time to taste it. All right, I'm back, you all. This is 42 minutes later. This is what the emergency cake came out looking like. Now, the one thing I did have to do was I had to broil the top of it after it was done because it was completely white. So let's get ready to taste it. Okay, y'all, I'm back. I have a knife, a paper plate. The first thing I want to do is let's take this cake out of this parchment paper. Oh, y'all, let's see, let's move this. When I tell you, I hope this tastes good. Like I say, this is my first time making an emergency cake. And so let's just take it off of this paper. Well, I could just leave it on here, but let me hold it up and let you all see what this emergency cake is looking like. Okay, now let's go ahead and cut us a piece. And you can hear that the top's nice and crunchy. And like I say, if a cake is good, you all, I don't need icing. It's still hot. So we're just gonna... Okay. And this is what it's looking like. And you can see that steam is still coming off of it. Okay, and let's see here. And this is what it's looking like on the other side, the outside of it. Okay. Let's cut us a piece. Let's give the first bite to you. Okay, so the first bite of this emergency cake, first bite goes to you. Now let me try it. Yeah. It's not the sweetest cake, but it's good as far as satisfying your cake craving. Now, I could see maybe if I put a little bit of icing on here, that would make it a lot better. But like I said, this is an emergency cake. You're just using some basic things. And so, anyway, I hope you all will give this a try. Let me take you down into the cake so you can see what it's looking like on the inside. All right, you all, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.